Hey guys, so it's me, Told Me. Should I say Told Me on this channel? Yeah, this is like a second channel, but it's me, Told Me. And I wanted to talk more about the Baltimore Key Bridge collapse, because it's kind of funny, because when I uploaded my last video talking about the infrastructure in this country on all levels, I really meant it, and I found it tragically, non-coincidental, because I uploaded that video a couple of days, maybe a day before, I can't remember, before the accident happened. And what this shows us is that we are not safe anywhere in this country. You should never expect to be 100% safe no matter where you are, and that this is far from going to be the last infrastructural issue we're going to have with something going on in this country, because what happened to that bridge is monumental for our economy, for our mental health as people, also for our politicians, because in my opinion, when things like this happens, the only way it's really ever going to get better and we're going to have some actual improvements or whatever is if the politicians followed through on getting everything done that we need them to. So this is actually basically the recovery after this event is going to tell us what we need to know about the leadership in Maryland. And in my opinion, if that bridge is not rebuilt, because it needs to be built, they need it good, steadfast on that motherfucker, because that is that Baltimore bridge, because now the channel is closed, and there's thousands of jobs that's going to be affected, and not just jobs in that area, jobs all around, because that's shipping and cargo. So you got items coming in from other countries and other states flowing down through the country and everything through there, coming out to the to the Atlantic Ocean and all that stuff. They need to have that bridge rebuilt within at least the next 2 years, if they can. I don't know how that works, but anyways, let's get to reading some key points that we have here from CNN, from a long list of people reporting, but here we go. So this is what they're covering. There are 6 people presumed to be dead after the cargo ship held a pillar of Baltimore's Francis Scott Key Bridge early Tuesday morning, causing its collapse. The National Transportation Safety Board chair told CNN that investigators were able to board the ship overnight and obtain a data recorder, or black box. Black box. 6 people dead. There's a lot of there's a couple of esoteric numbers and symbols going on, but black box, and more information will be shared with the public later today. A father of 3 from El Salvador has been identified as one of the missing, as has a father of 2 from Honduras, both of whom lived in the U.S. for almost 2 decades. 2 Guatemalans are among those unaccounted for, and some of those missing are Mexican nationals. The collapse has indefinitely halted the flow of ships in and out of Baltimore, which could hurt the local economy, strain supply chains, and scramble deliveries along the East Coast. All right, so I'm gonna make a point about that. That the majority of the people lost seem to be Central Latin America nationals, Mexican nationals, and everything like that, because these guys were working on the bridge when this happened, right? And I'm not gonna say if these people were illegal immigrants or migrants, because I think some of them have been here for 20 years or whatever, but that's beyond the point. I want to think about how politicians could informally use this situation for nefarious agendas, because, for example, this could bring about more empathy for migrants coming into this country. And I mean, I'm not saying that we should have any ill will towards most of the migrants coming in, because they're only coming in because they can, because we let them. But it's just something to think about. If you hear this story repeated in a lot of speeches and everything like that, just keep that in mind, because again, the way our politicians work in this country, they keep working against us, because they're trying to have this new slave class in this country, and they might try to use this opportunity to kind of make them seem like heroes of some sort. But I would also use this moment to tell you that this is the exact reason why the quote-unquote pay gap between men and women is what it is, because men do take these kind of jobs where we'll be working one day and a freaking boat crashes into us, or we're on a scaffolding and the wires cut off and we fall 300 feet to our deaths. Like, these are the kind of jobs that we be taking. Even just working on a roof of a 2-story building, we do that, and you fall and monkey fell off the bed and hit his head, and now he's seeing Jesus. That's just what it is, right? So I talked about the Mexican nationals and everything. So here we have some other points that they brought up. More than 24 hours after the Key Bridge collapse, recovery operations continues. Here's what we know as CNN. They're still searching, and the cold water temperatures and choppy waters are affecting divers' attempts to find bodies of those missing who are presumed dead. Because as we know, there are a lot of the cargo, there are a lot of pieces of the bridge in there. There's a chance that some of the dudes could have just straight up been crushed by like big pieces of metal or whatever, and they just aren't getting there. There's also the fact that this is like a river that's under there, so the current could have like pushed them away. So for all we know, they could be like 2 miles out right now. They could be out to sea. I don't think there's no alligators in Maryland, and no particularly big fish that we know of, because remember, we don't really know about all the animals out there in this world, but they're probably not being eaten by anything drastic, but we don't know. There could be sharks up in the channel, just happen to be there. So the investigation. A team from the National Transport Safety Board went aboard the ship and to gather evidence, and as they said, they got the data recorder black box. There is no specific timeline for the channel to get reopened. They are using this keyword, a long road to recovery. The U.S. Transportation Secretary Pete Buttigieg, I'm gonna call him Buttigieg, predicted the restoration effort for the city and port won't be quick. Also warned of supply chain disruptions. Now hear that. That's the big taker for this. The supply chain disruptions. We have been having quote unquote supply chain disruptions for years now, ever since 2020 with the pandemic, right? I'm gonna call it that because YouTube be tripping. But we have not stopped having supply chain issues. Now, for a lot of people, they're getting their Amazon packages in one day, like they're used to, and everything like that. But still, for a lot of like international shipping and sometimes for statewide shipping, there are still some issues people are having, and there are still some industries where supply chains are still strained. You got to remember that Baltimore has one of the most important ports, biggest ports, most used ports in the entire United States. So if this channel is going to mess up the supply chain for these people, it's possibly going to mess up supply chain things for you as well. And this is why people say these kind of things can be premeditated, planned, either from either behind our country's borders or from other countries as well. That's why the World War III, will probably 50% of it will be fought through information technology, because when I'm going to also get to one of the reasons they said the ship even hit the thing in the first place is because it quote unquote blacked out. Some people could attribute this to maybe this could have been a terrorist attack, maybe this could have been attack by another country infiltrating the systems, possibly EMP, because that's one of the biggest things they talk about when I talked about my last video when it comes to infrastructure. Our grid systems and our technology systems are very vulnerable, and a good planned EMP attack could knock out a lot of the electricity we have in a lot of places. But anyways, the Coast Guard assessing hazmat threat. The U.S. Coast Guard is examining damaged shipping containers, some containing potentially hazardous materials from the crashed vessel, according to the U.S. government document. They also say the overnight search is deemed unsafe, and basically they're going to have a much harder time just getting to them. That's just the gist of it, if they even find them at all. Now, I want to highlight this part too, in conjunction with the potentially hazardous materials. Ship blacked out before crash. Just minutes before impact, there was a total blackout of engine and electrical power on the ship, according to Clay Diamond, executive director of American Pilots Association. Now, so far for the rest of the articles, I have not seen them gone into this. The most they keep saying is that, like, you know, the Maryland governor, he's calling for a full investigation about what happened. But you gotta understand, basically the shit blacked out, it stopped running and just got carried into there. But minutes before, we gotta think about this, right? We gotta think real deep about this. Minutes before, like at no other time, right before it hit the bridge, everything buzzed out. How could that have happened? What could have been done to do that? Because the only explanation in my head I can imagine is that something short-circuited and it just gave out. It couldn't have been something that they didn't prepare for. You know, it couldn't have been like, oh, someone pressed, Dee, don't press that button. It couldn't have been something like that. It has to be something where whatever is so happening, things got cut, right? And I'm not saying that there are any terrorists doing this. I'm not saying the Russians did this or anything like this. But we have to understand that we have vulnerable infrastructure on every level in our society. This even includes trains, and this even includes planes, includes ships and everything like that. I said before in the other video that we have these companies with billions, sometimes trillions of dollars, and they don't really put in the best effort that they could to make sure their products are performing at a qualitative, I don't know if I made that word up, a qualitative high standard for production. And they have some very huge, massive, and commonly used products out there that just minorly work. You could think of, you know, for example, some very bad car brands that always need work, but for some reason you always see them out every day. Like I was thinking about getting a Grand Cherokee or a Jeep Cherokee, but then I look on Reddit and people are always talking about people always have to fix that shit and they always have to repair it. But I see Grand Cherokees everywhere in Orlando. So, you know, there are a lot of companies out there where they have products that are but people use them anyway. So this makes me think, in general, when this whoever built the engine for this boat, or whoever is supposed to be the quality assurance manager and checking on this and that, did they really built it to the links that they could have? Did they make sure everything would run properly? Were there shortcuts taken? It's a lot of things you have to really consider. But again, also you can consider the fact that you know, if it blacked out right before it hit the bridge, hey, I don't blame you if you think that this could have been a planned attack from a third-party country. You know, I don't blame you, because if they were able to just cut it off like that and then have it hit the bridge, you know, then at the same time, that begs the question: how are we really going to defend ourselves in the case of a massive cyber attack? We really won't. You know, it just makes you think about the street lights for when people are driving. You know, they could just knock those out just as easy. Just the power to all the buildings that people do, like in our warehouses for our manufacturing, everything like that. This goes way beyond this one boat here, and it goes to the rest of our society and economy, you know. And I want you to also pay attention to this here. This is, again, why this is just bigger than just, oh, there was a crash and that was it. It's not just a crash. This has implications for us socioeconomically. Maryland Governor Wes Moore, and his last name is Moore because he's a black man, told CNN on Wednesday there are currently no specific timeline for when the ships may be able to move in and out of the channel. That means there's ships being backed up with millions, possibly billions of dollars in merchandise and stuff. The bridge collapse is currently blocking a key channel into the busy port and impacting thousands of workers. Approximately 15,000 workers are directly impacted, and about 140,000 workers are indirectly impacted. The Port of Baltimore has such a significant economic impact, not just on my state, not just on the state of Maryland, but we are talking about 51 million tons of foreign cargo. That's the largest. We're the largest port in the country for foreign cargo. Like I mentioned, foreign cargo. So this is an international thing. So now And he basically said there are about 155,000 people not affected, impacted in some sort of way or another through multiple types of sectors, whether technology or retail or food, cars, tree building, lawn manufacturing. And he's probably just talking about the people in the area and here in this country. We got other countries too. There are people in other countries trying to sell their Temu bullshit over here with their Amazon FBA or selling from China through Etsy. That's going to back things up. People aren't going to get their goods, and thus people are probably going to ask for refunds, take their money back. You're going to end up having people losing their jobs overseas and stuff, and you're going to see products that you're not going to be able to get and everything like that. And who knows how important these products are, because some of them could be, again, like I said, some Temu bullshit, but some of these other things could be like heart defibrillators. They could be like sensory things for people that can't see. You might have prosthetic legs on there, so there could be really, really important items that were not only lost on this ship, but the other ships are not going to be able to get us to on time. You also have to remember, there are also perishable items that these things transport too. So you might have these goods that they sit in these cargo beds for too long. They might start to rust. They might start to rot if it's some kind of frozen. I don't know if they transport frozen food or whatever, but it might start to rot. It's a whole lot that can go wrong in this situation. Moore also noted that Baltimore is a top 10 port overall for the country. He said there are people who will be impacted all over the country as the port remains closed. From the farmer of Kentucky. See, and they gotta correct this. Got a little bit of typo. They were too excited to type it. From a Kentucky farmer to an auto dealer in Michigan. Pressed again on when ships will be able to move, he said we're prioritized and focused on how we are coordinating efforts. Its reasons, yada yada yada. So like I said, people are going to be affected from this all over the country. This is not just about what happened there. This has big implications, and this is a reason why a lot of people, you have to think about if this one incident that happened within the span of a couple of minutes, like everything is fine, about to go under the bridge, bam, ship cuts off, bam, bridge, bam, couple people are dead, bam, hundreds of thousands of millions and millions of tons of cargo automatically blocked, lost, whatever, bam, hundreds and hundreds of thousands of people are affected through their jobs and for the supplies and sources, bam, in this country, outside of this country, within a matter of minutes, we have potentially billions of dollars affected here and from there. People's jobs and livelihoods at stake within a matter of minutes. So in the case that we happen to go to a war with so-and-so and so-and-so, the best thing they can do is not just send bodies at us, they can send viruses at us. And there's a lot of people all over the world that you would never know that don't even have real IDs or anything. They're agents themselves. We don't know what these other countries could be doing to raise their cyber forces. But Donald Trump had y'all thinking the Space Force is we need our freaking, I'm gonna be honest, our military needs a division of cyber defense, like a legit ass training center. Get all these nerds and say, we will give you $100,000 in a free house if you spend all your time on our computers and learn to hack Putin's Pornhub account or whatever. Like we need that, all right? Like I don't even know why we're even trying to do the whole Space Force thing, trying to focus. I mean, I get it, they might be trying to build satellites to spy us from here and there, but we need a cyber defense force, like a legit part of the military that's based on everything dealing with technology, like information technology, network connections, data connections here and there. That's what we need. Okay, there are a lot of lonely young men out there that love doing things on computers and playing video games and stuff. I'm pretty sure, and this part of the military, you just need to be somewhat in shape and learn how to shoot a pistol and learn how to shoot a rifle like everybody else. And then they don't be pressing you niggas about being in shape. They just need you niggas to be able to do this at a screen all day to protect my Amazon account from getting hacked. But now there's a state of emergency. There's still a state of emergency in Baltimore, and we'll have that for the foreseeable future. It's an unthinkable tragedy. And let's see, am I finished with all I got here today? One last thing I wanted to talk about from what Pete Buttigieg had just said. The U.S. Transportation Secretary says if private companies are responsible for the cargo ship crash, they will be held responsible. And this is the one thing I got to put into here, how these corporations and these politicians stay in bed for each other, and whenever they fuck up, there is no real accountability held for these people. He just said, to be clear, if any private party is responsible and accountable for this, then they will be held accountable. What the hell do you mean if? If they are? I mean, I understand it may have been a mistake that all the systems cut off minutes before and just blacked out and everything. But at the same time, though, that's their blackout. You know, that's their systems blacking out. They gotta take the L for it. You know, they may have 9 and 10. Like if I'm driving, right, and my car engine stops on the highway and I end up crashing somebody. You know, it may have not been really my fault that I crashed into that person. But if I don't have the proper insurance, it definitely is. But that's why I do have insurance, because, you know, I did crash into you. It's not like I tried to, but I did. That's why I got my insurance, because it's going to fall on me because I hit you. Doesn't matter if my engine died or my wheel squealed or whatever. You know, did I do enough to get out the way? Did I do enough to make sure my engine was good? That's the reasons why I had to be held accountable, because I'm the one in control of this car. They're the ones in control of that shit. And this just makes me think that whoever the company is responsible for this they're gonna get a slap on the wrist. They're gonna get this and that. When really there should be consequences for this. Not to say they should have, like, you know, everybody should be fired and the company should be through, but they need to be held responsible for this. There needs to be upgrades in whatever system went on. They need to study this thoroughly, but they need to be transparent about this, because people need to understand what's going on. Oh man, low battery. People need to understand what's going on with the infrastructure going on in this country. But I'm also here to tell you that that's probably not going to happen. They're probably going to do everything they can to kind of hush whatever's going on with whatever the corporations did. They're probably not going to they're going to get slapped on the wrist. They may give money to these families of the deceased and those affected. Because I know if my fucking car dropped into that damn water and I survived, you at least getting me a damn Toyota Highlander, motherfucker. like I'm getting something. You know, my leg, I can't breathe. I still can't breathe. They're like, sir, you're in the hospital. I think I'm drowning. I got PTSD. Like, I'm doing everything I can. But yeah, I don't think these corporations gonna be held responsible. And again, like I said earlier, we gotta see how these politicians basically do this recovery. If a recovery isn't made properly and not made timely, because they need to open up this channel. I don't know how they're going to do it or when they're going to do it, because they have to also make sure that the river is clear of enough debris where it's safe, because if it's not, and another boat goes through there and it hits his oil rig or something, or hits his propellers, and now it flows into the, now you're talking about an even bigger situation. And I almost forgot, I didn't even get to talk about the chemicals that hazardous materials that were on there that they kind of just slightly went over. Now all of a sudden our river is affected, and how is our water affected? There's so many implications that can come from this, and that's why I wanted to make this video. It's not really that quick, but you know, you listen to guys like Jeremiah Babe and everything like that. Sometimes you don't need things to be quick. Sometimes you just need to get an in-depth listen on how things are, and then to get a local layman's opinion about these kind of things. Because if you pay attention to the news and celebrities and everything, they always have to go under this guideline where they really can't tell you how they really feel. So that's what we're here for. But anyways, I'm gonna pray for these people. I'm gonna pray for the rest of the country, because shit's about to get crazy, and this ain't gonna be the last thing we're gonna see because this reminds me of Evergreen a little bit, but this is actually a bit worse than Evergreen in my opinion, because actual lives are lost. But yeah, see ya.